everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it's Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Hanging in there, William. Hanging in there.
It's, well, practice was canceled today. That must have been nice. Did you have to go at all? Did they tell you once you got there? You're like, yeah, go home.
No, so we had a pretty good idea yesterday that today's practice was going to be optional.
Okay.
So it was, you're going to get Tocchet, and maybe you'd ask for a player or two, but it's not going to be a full practice. And then woke up this morning around 9 a.m. and had the text that said no practice. So
that's got to feel good.
Just went back to sleep for another half an hour.
That sounds fantastic. I do that all the time, and I have to be here at a certain time. But all right, we have a couple of newsy items to get to off the bat. Nothing of the greatest importance, but we've been talking about the Adam Yinning dilemma. Adam Yinning dilemma.
Dilemma?
Yeah, I was like, there's
a dilemma.
None of these syllables are good. The Adam Yinning dilemma, and he has been sent to the American Hockey League on a conditioning stint. So he's going to go down there. He hasn't played in quite some time. And now he's going to get at least a couple of games down in the AHL before they have to make another decision.
Yeah, so just to explain how this works to people who don't fully get it, he is down in the AHL, but this is different than being sent down because Yinning in particular, he is no longer waiver exempt. So if you were to send him down normally, you would have had to pass him through waivers. He would have to go unclaimed by every other team in the NHL. Then you would assign him to the AHL. A conditioning loan is something you can do to kind of get around that. Now, it's not a permanent solution. A conditioning loan only lasts, I believe, 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
I think it's 14 days maximum. So you can only be down there for 14 days. But basically what it is if a guy has not played an NHL game for a very long time, you can assign him to the AHL for a conditioning stint as long as the player accepts it. The player could say, nah, I don't want to go down there, and then the team's screwed. But if the player...
You then have to waive him. He wants a chance to maybe go somewhere else. He can be like, no, you got to waive me if you want me down there.
Right. But the way a conditioning stint works is that he'll be down there for 14 days. He will continue to be on the Flyers roster. So he will count towards the 23-man roster. He will continue to get paid as if he's in the NHL, but he can just play down in the AHL for a couple weeks. And it makes sense from the Flyers' perspective because, number one, the guy just hasn't played.
Yeah.
Like, the guy has, I've made this point, he's been in one game since October 16th, so one game in a month. So he's extremely rusty. And, hey, like, it's important, even if you don't value Adam Yinning,
yeah, it's
important to have your backups not cold because let's say there's a game where, Jamie Drysdale gets a concussion and Cam York, takes a shot to his knee and has to miss a couple games. And then you got to play both Zegras-Dvorak-Tippett and Adam Yinning. Well, one guy hasn't played in 3 weeks and he's probably going to have a terrible game because he's cold. What this allows you to do is it allows you to get him kind of back in the swing of things. However, what it doesn't do is it doesn't solve the problem. This is kind of just like a kicking the can down the road thing, but it's a good idea because the CBA allows you to do it. It allows him to play for 14 days down in the AHL. And hey, maybe after those 14 days are done, maybe somebody like Ristolainen's back and maybe then you have another set of problems and then you do waive him. But it's clear they don't want to waive him if they don't have to because even if there's not a great chance that he's going to get claimed, it's non-zero. And they'd rather not lose him for nothing.
Speaking of potentially losing guys for nothing, Maxence Guenette, he was waived today, so they could send him to the minors. He is also not waiver exempt. Obviously, he came over yesterday in the trade,
right.
And you tweeted when Elliot Friedman put on Twitter, like, yeah, these are the guys on waivers. Guenette, not Guenette. Guenette. I'll get it.
Guenette.
Just something you had to do. It does kind of feel, though, like if you were willing to trade for him, sign him to a very cheap deal, $775K.
Yeah.
He's a big 24-year-old right-handed defenseman. Kind of feels like there's a little bit of risk involved here, no?
I mean, I guess, in theory. But if you look at it this way, so it's going to be a convoluted explanation, but I swear it makes sense. Okay. The Flyers, because they traded for him and then they signed him to a deal, they can send him down to the AHL. Now, another team could claim him, okay? They could. They could put a claim in, and then they would have Guenette on their roster. But in order to keep Guenette, they have to have him on their NHL team. And this is a guy who's played in 7 NHL games, mostly an AHL and an AHL guy. It's unlikely that a team would like him so much that they would want to keep him up with the NHL team, because the minute that team that claims him decides to then be like, well, we don't have a spot for him, we got to send him down, then the Flyers can claim him because they were the original team that tried. They can claim him and immediately assign him to their AHL team. So really the benefit to trading for him is that it kind of gives you first priority in terms of being able to get him down to the AHL. Generally speaking, I would say that teams don't mess with this, because if you think about it, like, this guy was available for trade. He asked for a trade this summer. He's been available for a long time.
He hasn't signed a contract.
If you liked him enough that you wanted him on your NHL team, wouldn't you have just tossed the Ottawa Senators a 7th-round pick in 2028?
Something, yeah.
Like, just to get him, just because, like, if you like him that much, then why didn't you trade for him? Clearly, no one did. He's been sitting on, the group chat of NHL GMs being like, hey, anybody want this guy? And then the message, like, went unread for 3 months. The Flyers finally got him, but by trading for him, the Flyers have the easiest path to getting him down to the minors, which is clearly where they want him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Charlie said, you waive a guy, the other team, if they claim him, they have to keep him. And if they don't, he basically gets offered back to you.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much how it goes.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure we all knew that. Like, yeah, it's very unlikely.
It's possible.
The possibility is non-zero, as you would say.
Right.
Like, it exists. Someone could do it. You could accidentally click a button. Who the hell knows? I don't know how claiming on waivers works in 2025. I assume it's just an app. Something could happen of that nature, but, like, the guy's played, 7-8 games? It's probably unlikely. And like you said, he's been available. Like, he signed a contract yesterday.
Yeah.
He has been unsigned this whole time. Someone, just give him to us. Like, we'll take him off your hands. He doesn't want to be there.
Basically, for him to get claimed, this would have to involve a team that was just kind of waiting in the weeds the whole time, that secretly really wanted this guy, but just wanted him for free.
Wanted him for free to the point it was like, I don't know, we had Dennis Gilbert. He was in a competition with Noah Juleson, lost. He's been out with an injury.
Yeah, he's not even healthy.
Yeah, like, he's been hurt since the end of October. He's played in 6 AHL games. The Phantoms are pretty good without him. Like, here.
Yeah, sure, you can have him.
Like, it was kind of just a swap of, like, I don't know, neither of these guys really want to be where they are.
And I'm guessing Ottawa, because I don't think Gilbert, I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing Gilbert probably isn't yet ready to come back, but I'm guessing he's got to be ready to come back soon.
You would think.
Because the thing with Ottawa is they know him. They had him at the end of last year. They're dealing with injury issues right now, and they're probably like, well, we'll take that guy who seemed okay last year when we had him with the team.
We already have his jersey made up.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows where the building is. It's just easy for everybody. Yeah. So those are the newsy things, Charlie. Now it is time to get into the Michkov of it all, because
it's always the Michkov of it all.
Why not? But really, I'm using Michkov as a jumping off point to then later get to Foerster-Cates-Brink.
Okay.
Right now, Matvei Michkov, 4 goals, 5 assists in 18 games. He had 6 goals and 9 assists through 18 games last year. Also was scratched twice by this point in the season. He scored goals in 3 straight games, and then he averaged 14:21 of ice time over the weekend, which is a little bit funny. He's under 15 minutes for the season. We talked about the conditioning thing, back-to-back, 65-minute game the night prior. Like, yeah, maybe that Saturday game isn't the time to get him 18 minutes, because why? But it just kind of feels like there's a malaise. I don't know how to describe it. Just a weird feeling with Matvei Michkov. Now going back to yesterday's Tony Escargot, before we got into yelling about Creed and Nickelback, in no world do I believe that Matvei Michkov is being traded. No. Like, in the next 5 years. Not 5 years from now, maybe we'll talk.
I mean, I guess you never know. But I don't think this is a situation where they are like, oh, we're so frustrated, we need to get rid of him. Nor do I think it's a situation where Rick Tocchet is going to Danny Briere and being like, I can't win with this guy, get rid of him. I don't think either of those things are happening.
No, I don't either. But there was something you said in our Michkov discussions over the last few days that I do think bears, like, a little bit of repeating or diving deeper into. The idea that it's not just, well, you got to earn your time. It's like, well, goals in 3 straight. He earned it. Go play him 18 minutes. It's also maybe, and not to the point of, like, half the locker room hates him or something, but a little bit of, hey, man, all we hear about is this kid. Like, it's the Philadelphia Michkovs. All the fans are only interested in this one player. the GM and president are carrying his bags to the airport. They've certainly never carried my bags, you know? And then he shows up to camp out of shape. There is earning it on the ice with the coach, and then there's a little bit of gotta maybe not win back the locker room, but re-win over, like above and beyond prove that you've earned the ice time. Do you think that could potentially be going on?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's above and beyond, but I do think that there is
more than 3 games.
Yeah,
worth.
well, as I've said on the show, like fans look at it because fans obviously also have the the benefit, number one, of just being super hyped for this guy from day one. Number two, they watched him all last year, so their view is like, well, yeah, he's back to that guy. Give him all the minutes. I don't care. There is an element to this of he doesn't have that money in the bank, so he has to do a little bit more maybe to get more ice time, especially when, and I think this is the big thing, because this is what jumped out at me. Like, I hate to go back to the Couturier stuff, but I'm going to go back to it because I think it's instructive in one way. All Couturier said really in that comment was everything that we had been hearing from Tocchet all along.
Yeah.
I have to believe that the main reason why there's a connection here is because when they have their tape study sessions, they're pointing out all the times Michkov cheats. And it's much easier to sell to the locker room like, yeah, he's getting more ice time because he's doing what we want us to do, as opposed to like, yeah, he's still cheating just as much, but like, well, people want to see want to see Michkov, so sorry guys, we're giving you more Michkov.
Everybody else has to play the right way. He doesn't deal with it.
There's an element here of like they don't want their and this is honestly a part where there probably are. This is a clear disagreement between the coaches and the fans.
Yeah.
I think most fans do want there to be a double standard. Like, yes. I think I truly do. And I'm not saying that to be critical. I'm just saying that, like, you talk to a lot of fans on social media and they're like, well, yeah, Michkov should obviously be allowed to cheat. He's the best player on the team. Let him cheat as much as he wants. Let the other bums do all the dirty work. And, like, that's fine. You're allowed to believe that. But, like, that's not the way any coaching staff is going to operate.
And, like, at a certain point when we talk about that money in the bank, we've always talked about that, like, going back to Alain Vigneault. Like, you got to make a couple deposits. You got to have a little in there before we let you get away with some stuff. He should be allowed to cheat in certain situations.
Yeah, of course.
But he has to learn the right and wrong times. It can't be, I think we're going to get possession, so I'm going to take off. It has to be, no, Bobby Brink won that battle. He has the puck. I'm gone.
Yeah.
It can't be, he should probably have that. No, because now it's 5-on-4.
Tocchet more or less said at one point, this was about a month ago, and he's like, look, like, not opposed to him going out of the zone to try to create things, but there are some non-negotiables for pretty much any coach, and one of those is like, you can't be in the neutral zone when we don't have the puck.
Yes, and it came up even with Tortorella last year when, like, yeah, Torts told him to do it, but he also, like, didn't tell him, yo, when your man has the puck, you just leave it to Coots and you take off. Like, no, you need to help. You need to help sometimes.
Yeah.
There is always, like, there's going to be different types of players.
Of course.
And different players are going to have different amounts of responsibility, but it can't be zero.
I think the distinction here is, like, because I see people in the chat being like, well, I'm so sick of this whole 200-foot player thing. Like, there's a difference between, I want to make a distinction here, and I think this is the distinction the coaching staff wants to make. There's a difference between being bad at defense and just not playing any defense at all. Like, Trevor Zegras is not that good at defense. He has misreads. He sometimes misses on coverages. He doesn't recognize things quick enough. And that's fine because he's trying. Yeah. Like, you can tell he's trying. When he messes up, it's not because he strategically just was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It was just that he got confused and somebody was left open as a result. The stuff they're trying to coach out of Michkov, they're not trying to make Michkov into Mark Stone. They're just trying to make it so, like, there aren't times where it's 5v4.
Yeah, that's the
distinction.
And I did bring up yesterday, like, the idea of, is it a coach's job to turn a really good offensive player into a well-rounded player, or is it a coach's job to take a 30-goal scorer and turn him into a 40? And it does feel like the league is way more everyone has to play a certain way than it was maybe when we were like kids. And it's like, yeah, man, Yager doesn't really have to go below
that said, though, during that time, the neutral zone trap is a thing, and every game was 2-1 anyway.
That's fair. That's a fair point. So that is in fact true. I do think maybe we go a little far in trying to coach this stuff out of certain players, but at the same time, we can't be shorthanded.
Right.
Like, that's going to lead to goals against. And you know what's going to happen if he gets scored on a lot and he's minus like 8 in a week? He's not going to play that much. And then no one's happy. Like, so you have to, like, there has to be some effort. You bring up Zegras. TK puts a lot of effort into defense.
He's just not very good at it.
He's not particularly great at it.
He's not very good at it.
Like, certain things he does well, like on the penalty kill, because he's got the speed. He can get in passing lanes.
He's just in attack mode all the time.
Yeah, he can just go get him. Like, but he's not like a necessarily, shut down. Again, not Mark Stone out there. But because of the effort he puts in, he's going to be able to drive play a little bit. And ultimately, that's what you need out of all of your, especially top 9. In order to score, you have to get there. And it can't always just be a breakaway. Yeah. All right. So that is that part of the conversation. On the other side, we are going to talk about maybe who the best line mates for Michkov are and whether it's time to break up that Cates line. But first, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. They've got almost 800,000, or they have almost 800,000 live stream events each year, 90 million users worldwide. I tell you all the time about the early payout offer, but it's my absolute favorite thing with Bet365. You're a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead in an NHL game. It's that easy. Go up by 3 if you bet the team on the money line. Instant payout. If they're part of your parlay, already marked a winner. You're on to the next leg. And we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and NPA. If you or someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And now I have to tell you about the ultimate sports destination. That's right. We are talking Xfinity. Now more than ever, you gotta have Xfinity. If you're a sports fan, you call yourself a football fan, a hockey fan, whatever it might be. What are you doing if you don't have Xfinity? They have all the best games, all in one place, all your favorite teams. Not a million different apps to switch through, no lagging, no buffering, just an awesome picture and great sound with the enhanced 4K. You get real-time stats and notifications live on your TV so you can keep up on all your fantasy teams. And then there's the multi-view where you can watch up to 4 games at once because we're talking to the big sports fans here. So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. All right, Charlie.
All right, William.
So there's been some line shuffling lately, and like maybe we found something with the Dvorak-Zegras-Tippett line. We'll get into them maybe a little bit later in the show. But for the first time, I feel like there is a real possibility. We've seen them broken up in-game a little bit. And when Foerster was out, obviously, they had to mix some things around, but he only missed, I think, 4 games. But now it feels like there's a possibility, at least. All right, that line's in a little bit of a slump. They, to start the year, wanted maybe the most consistent line, maybe the best line. But it hasn't gone that way really since Foerster came back from injury. And going in, it was starting to falter a little bit as well. Do you think one or more of those guys make the right fit for Matvei? I know we've talked about Noah Cates just to see kind of the Sean Couturier thing. Does he have the skill? No. But what he does have is like that IQ that we're looking for to match Matvei.
Yeah, I think they're all worth a shot. Now, Cates is the one who I'm skeptical he will try with, because as long as they want Cates to be the shutdown guy, they're not going to put him with Michkov, who, again, as we just talked about, does like to cheat for offense. Probably not the guy you want on the shutdown line against, Austin Matthews or Nikita Kucherov or whatever. The other two, I think Foerster, people understandably have wanted to see with Michkov for a long time, especially because he's got the size, he's got the skill, he's got the shot, and he's a guy who drives play and is really solid defensively. I imagine their concern with that tandem is if you want those two together on either side of the wing, you probably want to have a fast center, and they don't really have one.
Yeah, it's
that's the problem, where it's like Couturier is below average in terms of skating speed. Cates is probably average. Dvorak is average. Zegras is above average, but they're not using him at
He's
center.
not a center, yeah.
So I think that's probably the reason why they haven't tried for. Also, Foerster was hurt.
Yeah.
So they're, during moments where they were shaking the lines up, Foerster wasn't there to be shaken up. The guy who they've used the most with Michkov when they've juggled thing has been Brink.
Brink, which is surprising a little bit.
Could Brink work? Maybe. Brink has definitely gotten quicker. He's gotten when he hit the NHL, I think he was probably league average in terms of skating. Now he's solidly above average. So you suddenly don't have that, concern about like, well, are we too slow on the wings? Brink can really skate now. He, however, isn't that big. No. And then you wonder, like, okay, now are we too small on the wings, especially on the forecheck? I think it has potential, but Brink would have to really embrace the, like, I am the grinded out forechecker.
I'm the F1.
Exactly. He would have to just be like, that's my role when I'm with Michkov. And maybe he can because he's shown it.
All three of those guys on the Cates line can alternate doing those things. So it's not primarily on Brink, but it's not as if he hasn't shown an ability to play that way. He has really raised his game to that level where he is getting in on the forecheck. He does have more speed. He does win battles. So it's not like he's just a smallish perimeter right winger.
Definitely not.
That's not his game like it may have been when he first got out of college. So I do think it's worth trying. We haven't seen a ton of it. My question, and maybe this is more for the Dvorak line part of this conversation, but thinking about what Noah Cates has done offensively this year, of the three on that line, actually, he may be the most consistent in terms of production this year. But if you maybe want to push a little more offense while still getting, the Cates qualities with Michkov, do you think Dvorak could fill that role? If you went Dvorak, Foerster, and TK, could that be your shutdown line?
I personally don't think. I think Dvorak is a fine player, and he's having a pretty darn good start to the season. I don't watch him and see a defensive stud. I think he's fine. He's a fine defensive player. He's conscientious. He works hard. Nice kid, tries hard, loves the game. But I don't look at him and be like, man, I want him against the top lines. I don't see that natural instinctual ability that guys like Couturier and Cates have in terms of they do a quick little look over their shoulder and then boom, they know where everything is. I don't think Dvorak is of that level. Doesn't mean you can't try it. And maybe if you put him with a guy like Foerster who is very defensively inclined, maybe it works. But I certainly don't put Dvorak on the level of Couturier and Cates.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
His defensive metrics have never been on their level.
You and I watching, I think it was the Friday game in here, there was just a couple of plays Cates made. One is a hustle back stick lift for a steal to get play the other way, and there's another battle he won along the boards similarly where it was was that just 2-on-1 and plays going? And we both looked at each other had to be Cates. Yeah. Turns around 27.
Sure was Cates.
And it was he kind of has developed into that. And I want to get more offense out of him, and it seemed like this line, and listen, no one's going to score every single game, but it seemed like this line might be the perfect way of driving play, getting some offense, and being able to match up against top lines. But we've seen recently, it's tough. You're going to lose some of those matchups. The other team gets paid too.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that happens. But in the last 3 games, I want to look at Foerster-Cates and Brink now. They've played just under 30 minutes together at 5-on-5. Charlie, the natural stat trick numbers, not great.
No, not very good.
39% Corsi for. They are getting almost 53% of the shots, but that's the unblocked shots. That's just shots on goal.
Right.
They've been outscored 2-0. Under 41% expected goals.
Yes, underlying numbers not great recently.
The underlying numbers with this line, this is why I'm if there was a time to break them up, maybe this is it. And it's not like they've had much raw production either. And it's funny, we talk about that money in the bank. Tocchet's new with this whole team. He doesn't know any of these guys. But the guys who started out hot, yeah, man, these are the ones I'm positively predisposed to. I'm going to compare Owen Tippett to Mikko Rantanen because he looked like him for 5 games, and it just happened to be my first 5 games here, That's just the way it went. But Tyson Foerster, 14 games this season, 7 points. Last 7 games, 1 goal, no assist. He also missed 4 games in the middle there.
Sure.
Bobby Brink has 9 points in 18 games. In the last 9, 2 goals, no assists. And then there's Noah Cates, 10 points in 18 games. The last 4, no points. But I am going to cut Cates specifically a little more slack because all points came in those first 14, yes. But he only had 4 games without any production at all. He only once in those first 14 did he go consecutive games without a point. And he is matched up with 1Cs quite a bit.
Sure.
So I'm willing to accept it. I'm expecting a lot more out of Brink and Foerster than to just be 40-point guys, though. Like, Cates at half a point a game, yeah, I can absolutely live with that. Sure, 100%. Feels acceptable. The other two, I just feel like they need to produce more than they have. And listen, we're not 20 games into the season here, and Foerster's missed 4.
Right.
But we're looking at those two guys as half a point a game players. That's not how we were talking about them 2-3 weeks ago.
I totally agree. And I think more than anything, it's Foerster. And I'm willing to cut Foerster slack here because he did miss time. He might still be hampered by the foot. It's very possible. I certainly don't know for sure, but it wouldn't shock me. That was a pretty painful looking shot block. But Foerster's the guy who you look at and you're like, there's so much more there.
Yeah.
You watch it. I mean, I remember like in the media room one day, and I think it was Kevin Kurz who said, it's just like, does anybody not think that Foerster's going to be a 30-goal scorer at some point? And we're all like, nah, he's going to get there, right? So like we all think it's there. Now it's a matter of him actually proving it and doing it. But we all think the talent's there. Brink is... I'm willing to cut Brink a little bit more slack than Foerster because, to me, Brink is like, he strikes me as a little bit of an overachiever. Like, he's getting the most out of his talent.
Okay.
And if he tops out at being a 45-point guy, 50 points maybe, like, I'm cool with that. He's a 5'8" dude who's working real hard. Like, sure, good middle 6 wing. That's a perfectly acceptable outcome for a second-round pick who, was doubted by a lot of people in the hockey world. Foerster, though, he's the guy who they've been pumping up as like, no, you don't get how good this guy is. We're not going to talk trade. We're not going to talk about trades with him with anybody. You want Foerster? Yeah, good luck. You better be offering Connor McDavid. Like, if you're going to put him on that pedestal, we need to see more from him. And he hasn't been bad. He's been good this year. But you want to see him be great. And it looked like at the beginning of the year, he was trending towards like, ooh, this might be the year he makes the leap. And now he's dipping a little bit. There's time. We just need to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah, there is plenty of season left. It's just like I have come to now expect after last year, like 23 years old, plays 79 games, he's over half a point a game. Like, to me, that's his baseline now. And it's all right, as you are now entering that middle prime there, the 24, 25, 26, 27, like that's when I really expect you to take off, is this time now. And it's been, 7 games was my sample size here for the slump. But the 3 of them together, it was, every night they're our best line, they're scoring, and then suddenly it dries. And then suddenly it dries up, and you go, ooh. And listen, we've been through it with Owen Tippett. Everyone's going to score in streaks. And that's kind of one of the things that was really, frustrating me with Tippett was like, all right, you had the first 5-6 games, but that line was awesome for the first month. They've cooled. Where are you now? And it seems as if he's broken out of that. But, like, it's never going to be everyone at once. Like, I remember we were always like, man, if, like, Utley and Rollins and Howard can all get hot at once, this team's going to score 1,000,000 runs a game. It's like, yeah, that's not how it works. Yeah. But one of them will carry you for a week every month. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, like, if 2 of them line up, you're going to sweep a series.
Right.
I feel like obviously there's going to be inconsistency, but the individuals themselves like aren't complementing it as well as like maybe they could be. It's just not lining up the way you would want. And so we have all these things kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. And my understanding of why Tocchet was so adamant upon keeping the Cates line together to start the year is because, again, we talked about this yesterday, he's implementing a new system. He's implementing new offensive tactics. He's trying to, impress upon the team a new way of thinking in the offensive zone. And the one line that already did that was the Cates line. They were already playing very connected. That's a word that Tocchet uses a lot when he's talking to us. He's like, you got to be connected.
Yeah.
Well, why was that line good? They were connected tonight. The Cates line came, out of the box connected. They that's just who they are. They know where each other are going to be, and then you can very easily put, plays on top of that because they already have that connectivity. Well, now they don't look that connected, or at the very least, the production isn't there. And now you're thinking like, okay, I don't think they've been horrendous, but they certainly haven't been great. And by keeping them together, you are limiting the amount of experimentation you can do with the other lines. If you pull yourself away from needing to keep them together, then we can see if Michkov can be good with Foerster. Maybe it'll be a disaster, but at least you can try. And at least we can give it like a game or two and be like, oh, maybe there's something there. Or doesn't work, they're too slow. Okay, let's not do that again. But if you keep them together all the time, you're never going to know.
Yeah, and that's the, in wanting to see the experimentation, we were saying just a couple of games ago, yeah, when they juggle the lines, there's a top 6. There's not a top 9 because one line is permanent. But now that we have a little bit of a slump, and there's not as much of a need for on film to be like, well, they did it right, because there's been 18 games now. Enough guys have probably made enough plays that we can point to more than just this one line as almost coaches on the ice.
Yep.
Because when we go to the film room, I know I can point out one line. Someone else is doing something right. We don't need to depend on that just for teaching purposes.
Exactly. And the Dvorak line is one of those lines. I'm thinking back to, and unfortunately we can't use clips on the show. I wish we could. But I'm thinking back to the game-tying goal against the Blues that Tippett scored.
Yes.
Where Tippett has the puck along the boards, passes it, and then immediately, without the puck, cycles into the slot to make himself an option for a one-timer. That's the kind of connectivity, and those are the kind of set plays almost when you're running routes. That's the kind of stuff that Tocchet wants in the offensive zone. Wouldn't be shocked if the next day he highlighted that particular play. Obviously, it's the game-tying goal, so it's a memorable play. But he highlights that play not just because it's a goal, but because it's this is what I want you guys doing. Get to the high-danger areas even without the puck. Don't just play a perimeter game. That's the kind of stuff that Game 3, only the Cates line was doing. Now, if you've got another line doing it, it's less of an imperative to keep the Cates line together. One
more thing, and then we got to hit this second break. Now, different coaches just have different terminology. Have you ever, I feel like, and it's not like you've covered every coach, but you've been through a decent number of coaches at this point,
Honestly,
Charlie. In 10 years, you've covered 8 coaches.
Yeah, right. God, I'd have to count.
Have you ever heard of a coach discussing, especially offensively, plays and the playbook the way Tocchet does?
No.
I feel like it's very different.
No, it is.
At least the way he talks about it. Maybe it's not an actual Madden playbook the way it's in my head, but it feels very different.
It's new. I remember hearing years ago that the only coach that this was a longtime veteran saying the only coach that ever taught us actual plays in the offensive zone was Peter Laviolette, which makes sense. Peter Laviolette was an offensively oriented coach, so it makes sense. But I get the sense that most coaches, it's less about plays and it's more about concepts.
Yeah.
For example, Dave Haxtell. Dave Haxtell was a high to low, low to high, get the puck to the point, get guys in front, and try to get tips and rebounds. And it wasn't like they were running specific plays. It was just hey, when in doubt, get the puck up to the defenseman and let them bombs away. Now, that was not a particularly efficient or effective shooting or offensive creation style.
But
it was a philosophy.
It was a lot about that philosophy.
Yeah, it was a philosophy. I think coaches usually have offensive philosophies.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have offensive plays. It seems like Tocchet has maybe not X's and O's football style plays, but he does have things that he wants the guys to do more specifically than just generally speaking, do this. Or apparently, according to Travis Sanheim, Torts just be yeah, my job stops at the offensive blue line. Just do what you want.
Torts would openly say, I don't know how goals are scored. That's your problem.
Yeah.
I know how to prevent them. Everyone plays goalie.
Right. I'll teach you. I'll tell you what offensive zone forecheck we want to do. Yeah. I'll tell you what when I want the defenseman to activate. But in terms of creativity with the puck, you just do your thing.
Go ahead. Yeah. Don't know. It seems like Tocchet is I doubt it's obviously there's things you try to accomplish on the power play because you typically have possession and guys in set spots, but it feels like there's just a little bit more talk of that than I've ever heard. So I'm glad
I would agree.
You feel that way too. All right, let's just go to the next break. Because I gotta tell you about our friends at Togo, baby. You know I am a big fan of Togo because it just doesn't make sense to, we're spending all this time talking about the Mad Russian. What if we put him in net? No, that's ridiculous because it's not worth the risk, the time, the money. It's just a waste of your stars' talents. You need your stars focused on doing what they do best, and the same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, the tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear the team down. You want to keep your impact players fresh so they can focus on putting points on the board, because that's what it's all about. And that's where Togo comes in. It's an integrated part of your team, taking that work off your starters' plates so they can focus on what really moves the business forward. And every engagement starts with free process mapping and engineering. There's no cost, no commitment. They don't bill you a dime until the real work begins. And with programs starting as $1,000 a month, you're not going to break the bank. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, turning your playbook into performance, you call the plays, we execute your way, and we advise along the journey. Visit harnesstogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning. Now I have to tell you about our friends at Monarch. I am learning a lot about my personal financial situation through Monarch, learning a ton about how I can save more, about maybe where I'm spending a little bit more than I should be. And hey, you actually have more coming in over here. What if you used it in this account? What if you move some things around? It is a wonderful service, Monarch, because it's built for people with busy lives. They do the heavy lifting for you. You never, ever have to make another spreadsheet. It's all there for you at monarch.com. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY. Hit that like button.
Yeah.
85, not nearly enough.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Hit the like button.
All right. So, Charlie, I don't even remember where we were here. What were we talking about?
We're 230 people watching. We can easily clear 100.
Yeah,
200 is possible.
What are we doing here?
150 seems reasonable.
Hit the freaking like button.
Hit the like button.
All right, Charlie. So, I am just looking at this Foerster-Cates-Brink line. Like, does your eyes match the advanced stats that they just haven't been good for like at least these last 3 games?
I would say so. Now, granted,
some tough matchups.
Exactly. I mean, you've got Dallas, really good team with really good top 2 lines. One of those games, I believe, wasn't that against McDavid?
I believe the first one was Edmonton.
Yeah, so that probably didn't help. And I would say they did a good job in that game of shot and chance suppression. Now, they didn't do the best job of scoring and creating, but they did a good job of suppressing. The Blues game was kind of a wreck. I mean, obviously, the only line that was good in that game was the Dvorak line, and they were incredible, and they carried them. Yeah. Everybody else was not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, that Blues game, it's like, I don't know, sometimes you get a game like that, and listen, the numbers are baked in there. Like, okay, 2 really tough matchups, and then a chaos game.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe these numbers are thrown off a little, but I do feel like if there was a time, this is it to move some guys around and maybe get them scoring a little bit, because I do expect more offense from Tyson Foerster. He is a very good defensive player, very good details guy. He needs to put the puck in the net a little more, though. And yeah, like you said, maybe still dealing with the injury, but if you're out there, I expect you to produce. Like that's the, if you're too hurt to produce, you're too hurt to play. So I need to see a little bit more out of him, and then maybe moving him off the shutdown line, open some stuff up for him. So maybe we'll see that. I would love to see him play with Michkov. I don't know if that's in the cards just because of the speed element, but we'll get to that. Let's talk Zegras-Dvorak-Tippett, Charlie.
Well, this line's working.
This one's working. They're 5-on-5 stats this season. They are outscoring opponents. They're +5, 9-4. Almost 54% Corsi, 56% shots, almost 54% expected goals, scoring chances, 56%. They are real good together at 5-on-5. It seems like, I know we talked like maybe not the perfect combination, but they seem to all complement each other's game in a way that makes the others better. Like Dvorak, you know what you're getting with him, meat and potatoes, north-south guy. Tippett, when he's hot, and he's been good the last few games. But like you've pointed out, he is actually a decent play driver, and that speed backs defenses off, creates a little room. And who's awesome with room? Trevor Zegras. Amazing if he's got a little bit of space. And you see how it's worked out. They scored every goal in that St. Louis game, and that was an insane game. I do want to eventually get to Zegras and Michkov together for an extended period of time. But right now, it's hard to be like, well, we got to break them up.
No, they're the line that's producing. So obviously you want to keep the line that's producing together. Again, and this goes back to the point I make for
all the time
years
about lines.
The lines always change.
Yeah.
Like, don't get too wedded to anything because eventually they're going to shake them up because that's the main thing the coaches can do to change things up when the team isn't winning. But this line's working well, and as you mentioned, I mean, look, Zegras is clearly the most talented guy on the line.
Yeah.
He's driving the offense. He's going to drive the offense on pretty much every line he's on, unless it's on a line with, peak Matvei Michkov. He's probably the only guy on this team that is a more skilled overall player than Zegras. And honestly, it might not be as far away as some people might think because Zegras is really, really, really skilled.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I mean, it depends on what you call a skill.
Fair.
Like, shooting the puck into the net is a skill that I believe Matvei Michkov has above Trevor Zegras.
Yeah,
now, on like a breakaway, like, yeah, I'm probably taking Zegras. But, like, just a wrist shot from the circle, yeah, give me Matvei Michkov. He's really good at that.
Yeah.
But puck control, handling, like, it's pretty close.
It's really
like
close. And Zegras is a better skater.
And Zegras is the better skater. Like, in terms of like raw skill, I think it's really just about how you define skill.
Yeah, it's fair.
I think Michkov will probably score more points when he's like in his prime versus Zegras.
Maybe. Hopefully. I mean, it would be great if Michkov becomes like a 120, 130 point guy at his peak. I think that's what we're all hoping for.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty close. And I guess I knew how good his stick handling was. I just didn't know how good everything else was with Zegras. Like, oh, he is like a pretty damn good skater. And it's not just the pretty moves in the shootout. He's like decent in traffic. We saw that pass to Couturier that we talked about for 2 days. Like, he's really good at making plays with the puck beyond, the stuff for clicks like we were told when we traded for him.
Yeah, the vision for Zegras has really, and I knew in concept that he was a really good passer. Obviously, he's been a really good passer his entire career, dating back to his time at the U.S. National Team Development Program. But some of the passes he pulls off, and these are passes that don't even necessarily result in scoring chances.
Yeah.
Not always result in goals. But some of the passes he pulls off, there's like 4 or 5 times a game he'll do a pass, and I'm watching the game, whether it's in person or on TV, and I had no idea the guy he was passing to was even open. And he passes him open, which is so cool to watch when you see a guy do that, because there's so few NHL players that can do that regularly. And he does it like more than 3 times a game.
Like, it's, okay, a 2-on-2, and you're like, all right, there's not a lot of space. Maybe we just need to dump it in and whatever. And it's, well, yeah, but if I lead him to the inside, oh, now we have a scoring chance, and I've just turned it into a 2-on-1. How? Because he's got that kind of vision. It is, watching Zegras is a little bit like watching Michkov last year.
A little bit.
Like, oh, I did not see that, and I have the whole view here, Like, I'm watching the entire screen. Didn't see that, and he found it. And that's part of the reason I really want to get them back together, is because they're the only ones. They're the only ones with that. Yeah. Other guys are good at a lot of different things. Sure. But they're the only ones with that thing. And it's just like, who the hell's going to be their center? Yeah. I think it could be Dvorak. They tried it a little bit. Yeah. It doesn't feel like they gave that a full go. Now Tippett's on that line, and it's going well, so I don't expect it to happen soon. But man, like, they're not on the power play together. I want to figure out a way to capitalize on this, because you just see it. Yeah. But it does get back to Michkov. Like, he has to be playing better to warrant that, though, because say what you will. I know we're like, oh, Tocchet just wants these grinders and he hates skill. He's playing Zegras 20 minutes a night some nights.
I feel like the narrative now is not he hates skill. The narrative now is he hates Russians.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Well, yeah, maybe. Sure, why not?
I don't think he hates Russia.
I would be surprised if that was the case.
That is the new narrative.
I would be surprised if it was like he was just openly prejudiced against like a third of the league or whatever the hell they make up. Like, that's really just kind of like, just in terms of wanting a job. I don't know, man. There's like a lot of really good Russians. You probably want to win at some point. You're going to need 1 or 2. Yeah, like, maybe. Yeah, man, I'm in New York. I'm thinking about starting 40-year-old John Quick tonight. What do you think? He plays 50 games this year. Like, Quick would just retire. Like, no. Like, I'm good.
Can't do this.
I'm good for 20, 25 tops, man. But like, yeah, I just think he started the season slow. Like, the way we're talking about Brink and Foerster is like, man, they just got off to such good starts. And you look at the numbers, like, they're half a point a game. Matvei Michkov's half a point a game.
Same point total.
They're all half a point a game guys, but these guys started fast, so we have this feeling that they're having really good seasons, and it's like, yeah, they're fine.
And I don't want to overstate, because I do think this has happened, and part of it is probably the discourse around Michkov, because there are a lot of people who think Michkov is like untouchable. So then we push back a little bit, like, well, no, he's not perfect. But I also don't want to act like he's been terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's been terrible.
No.
He obviously had the 3 straight games with a goal. He's made some great plays. His underlying numbers at 5-on-5 actually pretty good. Now, I think part of that is likely that he's being sheltered a bit and being kept away from tough matchups. And if he was being used, if he was being given the minutes people want him to be given, his numbers would probably be worse. His underlying numbers probably would be worse. But they're playing him in a sheltered role, and he's doing well in those minutes, and that's all you can do. All you can do is do well in the minutes you're getting, and from an expected goals standpoint, he's doing pretty well. His offensive numbers obviously could be better, especially when compared to the heights of Matvei Michkov that we saw last year, and then even more compared to the heights that we hope he will reach at some point. But I don't think he's been total trash.
I have to hit this last break. Remind me, I want to talk Michkov shot totals. That's what I want to do out of the break. All right, and with that, we take our final break. I got to tell you about Factor. That's right. Listen, we are all super busy. This time of year, the days are shorter. It's going to be really dark. It's dark right now. When I get home, I am going to want to do nothing after being at the office all day. I bet a lot of people feel that way, and that's why Factor has been a game changer for so many. They have more variety and more meals than ever. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. And there's now also global flavors. For the first time, you can try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and so much more. And they have more healthy choices, better nutrition. All of this comes to 97% of customers saying that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Who couldn't use that? Well, I bet you could. And if you want to, eat smart at factormeals.com/PHLY50off and use code PHLY50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for a year. So it's time to make breakfast. That's code PHLY50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. And now you know what time it is. Time to tell you about California, because we're going out west, baby.
Yeah.
March 17th to the 22nd, PHLY Flyers and Philly Sports Trips teaming up for the California Takeover. We're going to hit the West Coast for 2 big games. We're going to see the Ducks at the Honda Center, then the Kings at Crypto.com, and of course, we're going to have a watch party for the Sharks game on that trip. Your package includes optional round-trip direct flights from Philly, a 5-night stay at the beautiful Sanborn Santa Monica, group tickets to both games, that Flyers watch party, and if that wasn't enough, an exclusive meet and greet with John LeClair. That's right, Flyers legend John LeClair coming on the trip as well, and the Philly Sports Trips crew will be there to handle every detail, so you can just enjoy the sun, the sights, and the hockey. This is the California vacation every Flyers fan dreams of. And maybe we get a couple of wins to top it off. Spots are limited. Book your trip today at allphly.com/events. All right, the shot totals thing. I remembered. While the underlying numbers with Michkov pretty good, and that's like, yeah, he hasn't been horrible.
No,
I do think I
horrible.
think you were right to point out, like, because of some of that, we have to be like, well, okay, but, and maybe we've done a little too much of the but, at least in terms of analysis.
Like he's still a 20-year-old who's on pace for functionally 20 goals, 41 points, and has good underlying numbers.
Yeah.
Like, that's not bad.
No.
It's disappointing relative to expectations, but it's not bad. Like, he's clearly a solid enough NHL player, even in this form.
Also, you look at the shot totals, and there have been games where he's just like, I'm firing away. And some of it's just like he's frustrated, no one's open. He throws a shot at the net just to do it.
Sure.
But he shoots to score. That's Matvei Michkov. He always has a chance to score because he's really good.
Right.
I think some of the scoring woes that he's had, if we're going to put it that way, half a point a game player at 20 years old, decent, but we expect star. It's because the team as a whole just doesn't produce that much offense. Like, you do have to take that part of it. Like,
that's fair.
Last year, it was an offensive strategy devised to emphasize what he does well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this year, it's, I don't know, man, we're getting 18 shots a game. He had 5 of them. I don't know how many more he can take.
I guess it's a little bit of like a chicken and egg thing, though.
Sure.
You're thinking, like, okay, Are they bad at offense, and that's what's dragging down Michkov, or is one of the reasons why they're not generating enough shots is because Michkov isn't playing as well as he can? It's probably a little bit of both.
I do think like he could do more to raise it, and also this team as a whole, next month, halfway through the season, whatever, will start to understand the concepts a little better and not have 21 shots, 18 shots. Like
I hope
they
so.
will have. And Tocchet has said like he doesn't believe in volume shooting, doesn't like Oh, yeah, cool. Travis Sanheim, just take a wrister from the point, no traffic. All right, we got a stoppage. I guess we get a change. Cool. But it didn't really accomplish anything.
Right.
I agree with that. And that's kind of an NHL-wide philosophy right now. Shot totals are down across the league. It's about quality over quantity. But, like, they're just not getting shots as a whole.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, well, Michkov, he needs to drive the offense a little bit more. Absolutely, he does. But also... they need to be in the offensive zone more. Like that's really a thing more than anything. While I do expect him again to be part of the play driving, other guys got to do their part to get down there, and then everybody as a whole just has to do more on offense, and he'll put up points because of that.
I think that's true. Because, looking at the shots on goal per game numbers, Flyers are 30th in the league right now at 24.7. I do not think Rick Tocchet wants the Flyers to be averaging fewer than 25 shots a game. That said, I also don't think Rick Tocchet, I don't think the way he teaches offensive play, I don't think that's ever going to have the Flyers up where the Avalanche are at 33.7, or the Hurricanes at 33.6, or maybe not even Columbus and Detroit and Anaheim, who are 30 and up. Like, the ideal shot total per game number for Tocchet, like the ceiling, might be like 27. So he could be being honest by saying like, yeah, I want the team to shoot more, we're not shooting enough, but also still the platonic ideal of his offensive style might still be below NHL average, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I think that is the case. And that's where the execution of the offense comes in. When we were talking earlier about like running actual plays, it's more than just broad concepts. When everyone understands what that is and they complete more of them, like I assume the idea is to have a high shooting percentage because we are executing on high quality shots.
Right.
Like that is the whole idea. And so maybe you only got 27, but 4 went in. And that is a really good shooting percentage.
Yeah.
I could see that. Most of that like is going to come, I think. And that's why like I'm excited about where the team is right now, because I expect them to get better at what they're trying to accomplish than they are at this time.
And they're already a, average NHL team right now. That's my excitement. And that's the point I made on the show about Michkov a ton of times, is like one of the reasons why I'm not apoplectic about Michkov's usage and Michkov's struggles is because I believe in the player. Yeah. And I think he will get better. Now, we talked about like when do we start getting like to the point where, all right, guy, tick-tock, like probably like Thanksgiving, early December, and we're getting there. So there will be a point where it's like, all right, we got to figure this out. We've given you some leeway time, both the Flyers and Michkov, giving you some leeway time to figure this out. Now, like, you got a really talented player. Get him going. But I believe in the talent of Matvei Michkov that eventually he's going to go on, a heater. And we're going to be like, yeah, there's the guy from his rookie year.
All right, I think we have like 5 super chats, so I just want to ask you this one thing about Alex Bump, and we can get to that. Because we talked about Bump a couple of times the last few shows. He's doing really well with the Phantoms. Jackie, I think, asked Rick Tocchet about him yesterday, and she had an article today. Maddie Campbell also had a Alex Bump article. So I just want to ask you this. We talked like, okay, is there room in the top 9 for him? And if not, all right, what's really the point here? Because we've done this well, maybe on the 4th line, but other shifts. And it's like, well, you didn't do it for Jet or Grabenkin, so I don't trust you to do it for Bump either. Mm-hmm. The schedule opens up now, at least for a couple of weeks. Like, it's not the crazy back-to-backs we've had the last few weekends. But say they had brought him up to juice the offense just like in one of those 2 over the weekend. You just bring him up, you play him somewhere. Like, instead of Delorier, he's in there. You figure it out, get him a few extra shifts. Like, even if it's not permanent, would you have seen value in that? Just to see if you can,
honestly, no.
Just to see if you can extend like as a heat check on his hot streak.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Like I wouldn't do it because I'm not looking at this as like we have to get Alex Bump up.
Oh no,
it would be fun, and I'm assuming that's a big part of why people want him up because it would be fun. And the team over the last few games, really over a lot of the season, hasn't been fun every game. So I get it, but no, I don't think there's any don't think there's any necessity to get him up. I really don't. And I'm perfectly fine with keeping him down until a spot manifests itself. And I think it will because it's hockey and guys get hurt.
Just in the first 8 games of his AHL season, 3 points. He has 10 in his last 7. He's been really good. As a maybe spark for the offense or just like a heat check. Like, all right, he's on a heater. Let's see if he can come up and score 2 in a game and whatever happens.
I think it would be different if he was like, if he was scoring, if it was last 7 games and he had 7 goals. If he was like blowing the doors off, you're like, all right, like we need some offense.
It's like 4 goals.
And this dude is blowing the doors off. Let's get him up and see what happens. Like he's point per game, and that's great, and it's exciting and it's fun. But it's not like, oh my God, he's so good. He's way too good for the AHL. Get him up now. Maybe he gets to that point. That would be real cool. But I don't look at point per game numbers over what a 7-game span and be like, oh man, got to get Alex Bump up here. I just don't see that urgency.
Yeah, I agree. Not so much urgency, just like, well, the offense hasn't really been producing. Maybe he's on a hot streak. It extends here. But, I sometimes think we get into these conversations about call-ups like we did it so much. Well, when Lindblom gets here, he's here. When Gostisbehere gets here, he's here. And it's like, does it have to be permanent? Like, it could just be heat check. I don't know, he's on a good run. Let's see how it goes. And if we send him down, I know they hate that because we've seen it go the other way for guys.
They don't like doing that. And by they, I don't even just mean the Flyers. I mean like NHL people because they think it messes with the guy's rhythm. They think he gets disappointed. Then you lose him for a week and a half until he recalibrates. Like, okay, I'm back down in the minors. They think it messes with a lot of guys, so they're hesitant to do that.
Yeah, and listen, we've seen it. We saw it with Emil Andre. We may have even seen it with Alex Bump to start the season. Who's to say? Like, we were penciling him in.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, he's just been so good. I think he'll make the team. And then he doesn't.
And then he wasn't.
I bet you that was a major disappointment.
Probably.
So perhaps I just wanted to get that one question in. And now it's time for Super Chats. Oh, there's like way more than there were. All right. From JH says, Brenna triggering Twitter trolls with that title. What was the...
It was like breakup.
Oh, yeah, breakup looming. I just like, yeah, I don't think... I come up with the headline. Brenna does do the captions on the actual thumbnails. Right. I give her a concept, and she does way better at that stuff than I do. All right, from JH again. My name is Bill Matz, and Creed is my favorite band. That's very funny. I did a whole thing on it on Philadelphia today, too.
Did you?
I was like, I refuse to go back and be like, no, actually, they were cool and we were all wrong. They were wildly uncool then.
That's true.
And I'm not going to say they're cool now because, one, I'm 37. I don't determine what's cool. But two, I lived the era. They were uncool for the era.
It's very true. Like, there's a distinction between, like, when I was, 11, 12, 13, like, Linkin Park was cool. They were a cool band. So, like, I have little problem with them getting a critical reevaluation because, like, I'm sure they were never cool to, like, the indie kids. But, like, hey, if you guys want to critically reevaluate them now, sure. But, like, even to people between the ages of 10 and 14, Creed was never cool. No. They were always lame.
Yeah. They're just radio rock made for the masses. It wasn't cool.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. I've done 3 days in a row on this. From DPhil9, DPhilly9. Thoughts on an Owen Power acquisition? Wonder what it would cost. How much more would a Dahlin trade cost? Tippett, Andre Bonk would be a nice start.
I'm an Owen Power fan. I can tell you that there are a lot of, I will call them old school leaning Buffalo Sabres fans who hate him because he is big and he's not physical.
Oh, my favorite.
But he's a good player, and I would be totally fine. I don't think he's like a straight up number one. So if that's what you're looking for, like if you're trying to scavenge a straight up number one defensive for Buffalo, it's like try to get Rasmus Dahlin. Yeah. He's the number one. He's actually that good. Now, if I'm Buffalo, I'm never freaking trading him.
But I'm never trading Jack Eichel either, so.
Yeah, fair. But Jack Eichel, I mean, he literally went to war with the franchise. I don't get the sense Dahlin's going to do that. Now, Power, like, there are a lot of fans in Buffalo that want him traded because they basically view him the way a lot of people view Travis Sanheim 5-6 years ago. It's like, oh, he's so big. Why doesn't he do more? Like, well, he eventually became a real good defenseman, so you were wrong. But I'm not sure if the Owen Power talk is actually coming from the Sabres. Like, I've never heard anything to imply that the Sabres want to trade Owen Power. Everything I've heard about Owen Power comes from disgruntled Sabres fans.
I just think it never hurts to call the franchises who regularly do stupid stuff.
Totally agree.
Like we were saying about Chiarelli all the time back in the day. Like, Hextall should just be like, you up?
You up?
You know, like, you just see see what he says when he answers the phone. Never hurts to test the mental capacity of the stupid. Maybe Buffalo's just a dumb franchise.
Just find the worst general manager and just keep calling him.
Yeah,
it's worked decently well with Anaheim.
It has. It's hard to say Verbeek's like a bad GM right now. All right, we got to go to overtime. Go to allphly.com to finish up the show as we finish up these here super chats. This one from DA Flyers, man. If Bill receives Creed tickets from an anonymous benefactor, it's me.
Are they still together?
I have no idea. Tyler told me today that the band Alter Bridge is Creed with a different guy.
It's Creed without Scott Stapp.
Which I had no idea. I also only know one of their songs because it was a wrestling theme song. So it was Edges back in the day.
Okay.
All right. Next one here from J.E. Frucione. Gents, point blank, who do you think the Flyers organization feels has higher upside, Michkov or Martone? And what are your thoughts on the same question?
It's a good question. I still think it's Michkov. That's who they think has the higher upside, at least in terms of scoring. Now, maybe they think that Martone might have the higher all-around upside, that if you're looking at like a win above replacement stat, that maybe Martone will have higher value in that sense. But if we're talking about point totals, which I feel like is generally how people evaluate player quality, especially from a forward standpoint, like I think they believe Michkov has a higher ceiling in that regard.
Did I know he was here for, what was it? What's the first one? Dev Camp? Yeah. Did they show up to wherever he traveled from and carry his stuff?
No.
Martone?
They did not.
So that's kind of my answer in terms of what they think. What I think, I have no idea. I'm going to stick with Michkov because, like, I don't know, he's kind of the centerpiece of this whole thing. But you're seeing what Martone's doing in the NCAA, and it's pretty exciting.
Pretty good.
He's good.
He's real good.
Real good.
Yeah,
and that pick's looking great. Jordan Hall actually had a piece today about Martone and how the Travi kind of gave Briere a little scouting report because he was over at World Championships. Yeah, and they were, apparently TK was all in. He gave some really good quotes about his personality
I was
and
in
stuff.
a scrum. I was there. Basically what TK said was like, look, I'm not a scout. I'm not an evaluator of talent. But what I do know is when a guy has a personality that leads me to believe that he's all in and he's focused and he's all about the team, that I'm going to be more willing to be like, yeah, he could be really good. And Martone has that in spades.
I view all this through the Cutter lens where I'm like, yeah, man, this guy's a great teammate. He's going to work hard and wants to be here. That's what all those stuff sounds to me like just little shots every now and then.
Maybe.
But I think everyone's excited about Martone. Yeah. All right, it's our pal, Tony Escargot. Chuck, Bill, Tony Escargot has entered the chat with sobering news. Just got back from the dock and its terminal. Chronic Pucomia? Is that what that says? Pucomia? The Cure, Michkov playing 15-plus minutes a night. God help me. God help us all. It's funny that we've gone from, like, demanding 18 to just, like, get me over 15. Can we just get over 15? It's very funny. I love Tony. All right, from J.E. again. Also, these Cutter Gauthier numbers have me reaching for the Prozac.
You don't have to look at them. You really don't.
I mean... But when you go to the league leaders and he's there, like, yeah, last year I was going out of my way to look at, the rookie stats, and I'd purposefully, like, scroll down to see where he was when we'd show Michkov numbers.
Sure.
And sometimes I'd go to Anaheim just to see how they were doing. Now, he's just up there. Like, when you go to NHL.com/stats, his name is one of the names listed in the league leaders. So it's harder to avoid.
Okay.
But you don't have to,
You don't have to.
I like to. I think it's good to torture yourself.
You don't have to.
All right, this one here, just a nice from Blessed Martian, just gives us a couple of bucks. Appreciate it, and says, "Can you take me higher?" That is, I will give them the all-time best halftime performance at any sporting event ever.
Yeah.
The Cowboys Thanksgiving halftime with the Scott dude flying it's the greatest.
I mean, it's
no one will ever top
It's
that.
utterly ridiculous. The other thing I will grant Creed, this actually I'll grant them even more than, it's not even Creed, it's just Scott Stapp. The Marlins win song, Marlins Will Soar, fantastic stuff.
I don't know if I know
It's
that.
so bad. He basically wrote an anthem for the Florida Marlins back when Creed was like a big deal, and it's such a bad song. It's one of those songs, like, it's so bad it comes all the way back around to becoming good.
Okay.
Incredible stuff.
You know who could have used that was the Dolphins. When I went to a Dolphins game in 2003, it was Eagles Monday night. They have, like, their own little fight song after they score, and it's like, We are the Dolphin. It was like a Mickey Mouse Club song, and every Eagles fan was just dying laughing. They're like, "Oh no, please stop playing it. They're making fun of us." All right, that's it. That's all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. We clearly need games to keep the conversation on track. Make sure you're following us right here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Under 150, unacceptable. Let's go. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast. Just search PHLY Flyers. That is it. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.